Zaid, would you pay 40,000 USD to ask an executive a question? Guess what? A diehard Nintendo fan did just that, spending over $40,000 to buy enough shares of Nintendo stock that would make him eligible to attend a shareholder meeting. And a bonus, he got to ask a question to the president of Nintendo. Yes, he spent 5.6 million Japanese yen, or over $40,000, on Nintendo shares for one stock unit. After buying one stock unit, or 100 shares, he got the opportunity to attend the shareholder meeting. But it wasn't guaranteed that he'd be able to ask a question. That was just a bonus. So the gamer has been a fan of a classic Nintendo game titled F-Zero, which hasn't had a new game released since about 2004. That's been a long time waiting. The president pretty much responded to the fans' question with appreciating his enthusiasm, but it was unrealistic to create every game or project that stopped production just kind of because a fan wanted to. I wish that could happen. But Zay, this is pretty cool because one, look at the graphics of the game. I think I've seen this game before. I probably played it. NCAA is coming back. College football is coming back because people wanted it, and they're able to do it. So I'm wondering why Nintendo, Zaid, they can't do the same.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, props to this guy, like putting his money where his mouth is, $40,000 just to ask a question. Yeah, I mean, why can't they bring it back? I'm sure like someone's going to come in, some studio is going to want to bring this game back now. If they can kind of muster enough enthusiasm. And you bring up a good point. NCAA is coming back as well. I mean, it's a fan favorite game. So this game should be able to come back. I didn't even know that I didn't even know there was like a minimum requirement to ask a question at the shareholders meeting and all this stuff. I had no idea that's how it worked. So I'm learning something new every day. I mean, couldn't he have also asked this question during like an earnings call or something? Like, aren't these earnings calls open to the public? That they have these quarterly earnings calls?
Good question. So earnings calls are open to the public to listen. The questions are usually reserved for research analysts at investment banks or investment companies for sure. And you make a good point. He was able to attend the stockholder meeting because he had the requirement of shares, right? It could differ from company to company, but the question asked was a bonus. I'm assuming he stood in line. If you guys remember the classic Office episode where Dwight gets asked a question. So he stood in line of some sort, was able to ask a question. It was a bonus, but it wasn't a requirement that he got to ask the question just because he got to attend the meeting. So he got lucky there.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Like sometimes fandom, I always think it's like, being the head of like these gaming companies is just a totally different responsibility because not only are you like dealing with profits and things like that, but you're also dealing with just some people that like are super fans.
Yes.
And like that's such a totally different crowd to appeal to. So yeah, I mean, shout out to this guy, and hopefully one day the Nintendo decides to remake this game.
Exactly.
Moving on to another super fan, Michael Saylor. Delano, this guy is the biggest fan of Bitcoin. He's Mr. Bitcoin at this point in the world. His company, MicroStrategy, just bought another 480 Bitcoin for $10 million. My man is going down with the ship. He tweeted it out a couple days ago. MicroStrategy, which is essentially a Bitcoin holding company at this point, they own over 129,000 Bitcoin that they paid almost $4 billion for. So if you do the math, the average buy price is a little over $30,000. My God. I mean, and if you do the math right now, Bitcoin's what? Trading at $19,000 or something like that? I mean, his investment is down $1.4 billion. I mean, my man is down 330 or so percent. Like, you got to give him credit for having the conviction to just keep doing this thing. That's a lot of money this guy is putting at stake, Delano.
Yeah, you're so right, Zaid. On one hand, I'm like, dude, I have to give him credit. He has conviction. He's like out there and he's sticking with his guns and his thesis and analysis. On the other hand, you are right. It's like, hopefully he's well diversified because it's a lot of money and a lot of it is debt. Remember, he's borrowing, on the company at low rates and using that to bolster or put on the company's balance sheet. And another thing, I wish I got a chance to research it. It's our last day, so we're gonna see if we could get it off. But he's actually, based on the current reporting standards, has to report that on the company as the unrealized losses are reported on the company's earnings right now. So and on the flip side, he wouldn't be able to report the unrealized gains if there were any, just based on the current reporting standards. So he's all in. It's a pure play for those that are still just pure play in the markets. It seems like the closest thing we have to a pure play in BTC in the market. So yeah, it's interesting what Michael Saylor is doing, and he's one of the people that is all in and sticking behind his conviction.
I mean, and he's a Bitcoin maxi, right? So it's not like he's diversifying into other projects. It's like it's all Bitcoin for him. And I wonder what like some of these like normal employees at MicroStrategy thing, like some guy who's just like a, you know, middle management coder or whatever, doing whatever else MicroStrategy does. Like they're probably like, what is this guy doing? Like he might take the entire company down because, like you said, Delano, he's taking on debt to do this.
Yeah, and exactly right. The leverage thing is something that, again, like we've seen what happens when people are over leveraged in these markets, and that's something that's a little bit interesting and a little bit, worrisome. But as you mentioned, like this guy, he has a company, he's on the board, he has presumably a board, obviously of a public company, so they're aligned in these decisions. They're all voting on these decisions, I'm assuming. But yeah, it's an interesting strategy nonetheless that is going to have to play out for him and the company over the next several years.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I wonder if he's ever going to have a make or break it moment where he's like, you know what? Wakes up one morning, is like, you know what? This whole Bitcoin thing was fun. I'm going to take my losses and just ride off into this, move to Miami, right off into the sunset. I don't know if you'd ever do that. All right, guys. That does it. That does it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow us. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. It's been awesome doing this, and enjoy your 4th of July long weekend.
Enjoy, everyone. Talk soon.
We out.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in every day. Also, hit that like, subscribe, and notification buttons. We'll see you tomorrow.